This is partisan politics. This is one party rule. This is really anti-American politics at its core. This is take everything away from the power of the people and put it in the hands of a select few politicians.
Chad Bianco is running for governor of California as a Republican. He's a 30-year veteran of law enforcement and is the sheriff of Riverside County. Sheriff Chad Bianco, welcome to State of Gold.
Thank you.
It's great to sit down with you.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Let's start with Prop 50. I want to ask you, in a word, what's your reaction to Prop 50?
No. That's all we have to know is no on 50. This is partisan politics. This is one party rule. This is really anti-American politics at its core. This is take everything away from the power of the people and put it in the hands of a select few politicians. That is exactly what our Constitution, whether it's federal or state, or our founding fathers, were absolutely against. And it is sad to me that once again, California is in the forefront of the nation for what we shouldn't be doing.
I know, right? Just bad ideas, bad precedent.
Yeah.
Somehow the rest of the country adopts California's bad ideas. We've got to get on the better track. Here's the thing. We have not a lot of time to November 4th. Mm-hmm. And citizens aren't educated yet on why this is such a bad idea. What do you think the strategy should be at the core for the No on 50 movement to explain to citizens, if you approve this, here's why it's bad for you on the ground the next day?
Yeah, the next day you have given up your rights and your power as a citizen, and you've given it to government. I mean, I'm in a government position. I'm running for a government position. I don't want to take away the people's right to govern themselves, the people's right to govern government. And when we are taking away, when the government is scheming to take away the ability for its residents to make decisions of how things are going to work in their own government, that is an absolute complete failure of government. And what we have seen since 2020 is just how much can they get away with? How much can they take from us? The reality is it's been going on for decades, but it's in the forefront since the disaster of 2020. But they still keep trying to take that one more step, one more step, one more step. How much taxes can I take from you? How much more regulation can I put from you? How much more power can I take away from you? And what we're going to find is once they get it, we are never going to get it back. Once they have that power, I mean, I don't want to say this, but sometimes you have to. It's a revolution to get it back, because once they have all of the power and completely control your lives and there's nothing else you can do, that's the last resort.
I think that's well said. Let's talk about you as a candidate running for governor. What is your pitch to citizens in California about why you're the best guy for the job?
Yeah, we actually have to pick on it doesn't even have to be the Republican side, because I know I have Democrats that are completely behind me, supporting me and helping me win this election. We have to pick the best person that's best for California, not the best person for their own personal agenda, for their own political agenda, not the best person that's best for the Republican Party, the Independent Party, or the Democrat Party. Who is the best person at this point in California that we need in that position, the governor's position, and who has the best chance of reaching that end goal in next November? And unfortunately, for not only all of the Republicans that are also running against me, but it's for the Democrats too. And we can't say that they're giving up, because they will fight till the end. But there is a feeling in California that the Democrats have conceded this governor election. They know that a Republican's going to win. It's that 20-year mark that Republicans always win because of the downfall of one-party rule, that things get so bad that people want change. We're at that almost 20-year mark where that's going to happen anyway. And so everything is, it's like the perfect storm. And I just happen to be on the tail end of that boat, riding that perfect storm, because of what I've done for the last 30 years. So not only do I have 32 years of dedicated, irrefutable public service to other people's, sometimes at the detriment of myself, I have 8 years as an elected official in one of the largest counties in the state. I run the 4th largest sheriff's department in the entire country with a $1.3 billion budget that I finish in the black in every year. I've changed county government to make sure we're efficient. We save money, we cut costs, we run it fiscally conservative in Riverside County. And in the end, there is no other candidate on the Republican Party or Democrat Party that is going to draw from the other side. The Republican Party, in order for us to win, I have to have the majority of Republicans, most of the independents, and 15 to 20% Democrat vote. And not Chad Bianco, but the sheriff of Riverside County has that ability to pull moderate, central, even a little bit further left Democrats who understand and know that it doesn't matter how much we fix the economy. It doesn't matter how much we lower costs. It doesn't matter how much we lower housing. It doesn't matter how many houses that we build. If we are not safe, this state is going to fail. Everyone wants to be safe. And that leadership ability and the position that I have of trust, the position of integrity, the position of honesty, the position of someone looking to someone for not necessarily the answer they want to hear, but for an honest opinion of the status of what we have. And I think that's the appeal. That's why I'm appealing to both sides of the aisle.
I appreciate that. Let's talk about the economy for a minute now, because we can debate crime and safety, hugely important foundational issue. But I think the majority of Californians, working class, working poor, middle class, are feeling squeezed. We're the least affordable state.
Absolutely.
We're in the bottom of the barrel on all the metrics that matter. What are the top two things you would do to create economic opportunity for regular people in California?
Regulations and taxes. That is what is destroying California. Excessive business taxes, excessive taxes on hardworking people, and regulations on all of us in California, particularly industry and business. So it is all this whole idea of building affordable houses. That's all words. That's all the political psychology of influencing someone to go along with them. The reality is the government can't build affordable housing. It's absolutely impossible. It's an oxymoron. The reality is they are preventing growth. They are preventing builders from building by excessive regulation that draws out the building process for years instead of months, which increases all the costs that we all have to pay if we want to buy a house. The over excessive business regulations that are forcing all the oil companies out of the state, forcing the refineries out of the state, forcing big business because of business taxes and business regulations just to stay open out of the state. All of that has to end, and that ends with a stroke of a pen. I can remove all of those regulations on a temporary basis to where now the legislators are going to have to fix it permanently. We can make sure that we lower the cost of living almost immediately. Then that trickle is going to gradually even bring it down more. You take a lot right off the top, but then letting businesses expand, letting oil be produced, letting electricity be produced, letting all of these things, letting homes be built, all of that eventually drives more business in. It employs more people. Because there's more businesses, they have to raise wages to compete for the workers. So now we've increased wages. We're on the back end with the regulation and the taxes, we're lowering the cost of living. So that gap of what you have to pay, what you make and what you have to pay gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Then we all want things. We all want nice things. Then you stimulate the economy. The businesses stimulate the economy. Us spending money stimulates the economy. And we build our economy how it's supposed to be built, not artificially stimulated by government money. And that's how we make it work.
Yeah, there's something called the free market that California leadership, Democrats have seemed to have forgotten about.
They have.
And
we learned it in school.
Yes.
They don't teach free market in school anymore. They say free market is bad, but the reality is free market is what drives costs down, and
Sure.
It gives people jobs.
Indeed. Yeah, I spent the last decade as an entrepreneur in real estate, building a pretty significant company across the country. And I think what you see is that just on the housing issue, all the cranes are in the Sun Belt, and not many of them are in California. And there's a reason. We haven't created the economic conditions for the private sector to provide, in that case, housing, but to your point, all of the services and products that
Absolutely.
Californians need. Sheriff, let's finish with some rapid fire.
Absolutely.
If you were king for a day, the single biggest thing you'd do to fix California?
It's the combination of lowering taxes and regulation. I would change all of it back to be more business friendly and more resident friendly, more Californian friendly.
Right. Yep. And I know that you can start with executive order. Ultimately, we need legislature to pass the right laws to support, just like we do on a federal level. What gives you hope about the future of California?
Over the last couple of years, the hope really changed for me and went from a place of we were talking about an exit strategy with my family, the whole family, not just my wife, the kids that want roots here too. We were talking about an exit strategy. And over the last several years, my involvement in Sacramento in the law enforcement world and the Democrats coming toward me because I was very vocal. I'm not afraid of a camera. I'm not afraid of the news. I'm not afraid of telling the truth to everyone. The reasonable Democrats in Sacramento know that. So over the last several years, they are coming to me behind the scenes, asking my opinion on their bills. Are you going to oppose my bill? Can you offer me suggestions of how to reframe it, some amendments that you will not oppose the bill? And so for me, it's really showed me that the entire California government isn't broken. It's just the one party far left rule over our state that even Democrats don't like, but they don't know how to combat it. I don't want to say anything negative about them because I appreciate the fact that they're coming to me behind the scenes, and some of them are even helping me in this campaign behind the scenes so they don't get ostracized in their own party. But they don't believe in the far left extremism that is truly what's harming California. And so that happening behind the scenes, that's what's giving me hope. Then also, after I started the campaign, the amount of people that have come up to me, I'm not exaggerating, it's in the thousands in just a few short months that have told me that, and they're my age or a little bit younger than me, some of them older than me, and telling me that you need to win and you will be the first vote I've ever cast. I've never voted before, but I'm voting for you. And that hope of the 50% that we know never votes finally coming forward and exercising that American freedom and right and privilege to vote and control our government, that they're finally stepping up and saying, man, I've ignored this for too long, but now it's affecting me. I got to do something. There's a lot more people standing up to do something right for Californians instead of special interests or political party. And so those people working together, and that's what I'm seeing in my travels around the state, in my events, that is the biggest hope that I have.
That's an inspiring story. I appreciate that. Last question. What are you learning on the trail that you didn't expect?
Wow. I think I kind of expected this, but it's actually more so because I've learned this in my own little world of Riverside County, and now California is enormous compared to just one of the biggest counties in the state. But it's still, I mean, there's 2.5 million people in Riverside County, and there's nearly 40 in the state, so it's a lot more people. So my wife and I, we're hardly ever home. We are always traveling this state, and we are meeting new people. So the thing that is so overwhelming to us and motivating and making it fun for us is the amazing people we're meeting. All across the state. It's easy to have your own little tiny friend of circle, your circle of friends, but you don't realize there are fantastic, hardworking people that think the same as you or think a little bit different than you, but they're still amazing people that we are now becoming friends with and talking to on the side. And the ability for us to travel this state, by far the most beautiful state in the country, and meeting all the people here, that's been the best thing for my wife and I.
Yeah, I like it. I lied. I'm going to ask you one last thing. California is fill in the blank.
My home.
Okay.